All right. Take two. Take two.
Let's try this again, Danny.
Sometimes you just got to hardwire the internet in. I think we're back, though. Better than ever.
We're hardwired now.
I like it.
Hopefully it lasts.
Yep. I got
Sorry
my nice
about that, folks.
I got my nice Babylon Bocce Club T-shirt on.
Would you change?
No. It's just Sunday Red right here.
There you go. No better day for Sunday Reds than a Wednesday.
That's right. So why don't we, since we have some guests going, I got a little bit echo on your side too.
Oh,
that's coming from you.
So somebody's calling us already.
Yep. So we're going to skip over the next evolution. We'll talk about that at the end, which is the Bocce League, Chicago Bocce League. Let's go on to upcoming tournaments, and we got callers that have been waiting patiently. So we bring on Tino Emmanuel. And we got Paul too.
Somebody's on the line. Who do we got?
Yes, it is. Can you hear me?
Hey, Tino.
How we doing?
Doing well. How you doing?
Good. We should have Paul on here too, if the call worked, right?
Yep, I'm on here with you. Hi, guys, thanks for having us on tonight.
Thanks for hanging around. We had some Wi-Fi issues to fight through. Danny, you can hear them, right?
Yep, can hear them well.
Perfect.
Can you guys hear us?
A little staticky on my end, so if I got to ask you a couple of times what you said,
you're very muffled.
Don't mind me.
Okay.
Here.
We'll try to go better? Slow and loud.
No.
We haven't done a show in a month, so.
No, that's okay.
I got a lot of knobs in front of me. Sometimes I forget which one goes where.
Can you hear us better now, Tino?
Yeah. So, Danny, I can hear you clear. I can hear Paul clear. I think it's just Mike on my end that's a little muffled.
Yeah,
that's all.
Same here. I can hear you clear and Tino clear.
Okay.
Gotcha. All right, well, let's dive into it. So we wanted to bring you guys on because we see that the opening up for Rome's World Series of Bocce is coming soon, and just wanted to get some more information about what's going on.
Yes, we're really excited. It's tonight at midnight. Everything opens at midnight tonight, May 1st, and it's opened up until June 30th, or until each division is filled. And for the open division, it's 128. And for the women's division, it is 64 teams.
Wow. That's the biggest the women's ever been. Is it right?
Yeah, that's what they're shooting for. Last year there were 52 teams, which I think up to that point has probably been one of the most successful years, right, Paul?
Yeah. Having a total tournament of 180 teams over 4 days is, I believe, is one of the biggest tournaments, if not the biggest tournament in the country.
Absolutely amazing. And I saw that the first prize for the Open is going to be about $10,000.
Yeah, the open division is going to be 10,000. That's with capped off at 128 teams, and the women's division. Tino, do you have what the women's division was?
I'm not sure what the first prize is going to be for the women's division. I did know that the Open was going to be $10,000 this year, so that's not bad for a little weekend of Bocce.
No, I think that's going to be driving a lot of talent out there to Rome. That big number. So, is 128 the largest open that you've ever done?
It was 128 last year. So I think the anticipation is that there's going to be that and a wait list of teams for this year.
I'm always so surprised when I go out there on just, I don't know if I should be or not, but I'm pleasantly surprised by how well it's run. That even with so many teams in both the open and in the women's side, that the games keep going. Somehow, some way, it's like you have this big army of people that are all helping to make sure that it runs well. I'm sure it's a ton of work behind the scenes, but from a player standpoint, I love how smooth it's run.
Thank you. Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. We start working on it now. Rob Kopech is one of our main tournament directors. He runs like the Freddie Cup down here. He helps out with a lot of tournaments, like fundraiser tournaments. He'll run it, and with having his knowledge and with like the help from all the other guys that we all put in, running the board, filling out the tickets, filling out the computer stuff. They say that it takes a village, and that's what it does. So there's a nice group of people that put the time in. We sat back there all weekend and took turns when we had to go play, picking up each other's slack. It really does help. I mean, just across the board, everybody that kicks in and helps there, it's a very run very well, and they get all the kudos.
Yep, I couldn't have said it any better. I mean, a weekend like that, it's a daunting task to run a tournament like that, and on top of it, the guys that are running it or at the board are playing in the tournament as well. So to put that on top of it, it's that much harder.
Love it. Yeah,
and they do
like
a great job.
What were you saying, Danny?
Oh, sorry. Did I cut out?
No, you're fine. Danny was saying something. Maybe Danny cut out. Too many different Wi-Fi.
Do you feel like it's more? I'm sorry, Michael. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Do you feel like it's? I feel like it's pretty exhausting to like run, even like partially run a tournament and also play. Do you feel like that affects your play, Paul and Tino? You can answer separately. Having to do so much that it's around town.
Trust me, I truly enjoy going to like Wycliffe and stuff like that. Like because when you don't have to do that, short answer is yes. I mean, like especially with like doing the board and with being on the board here, and a lot of us step up and we're emptying garbages, or we're there in the morning unloading a truck because we needed a delivery for something like, because we sold so much alcohol and everything like that. I mean, whatever it might be, it does take a toll on you. I've noticed it in years past where there's been a few when you're playing like a 12 o'clock or 11:30 game on a Friday night or a Saturday night, after 2 days of work. And it really does. Cause I mean, there's nights that we don't get out of here. We might be back-to-back nights not getting out of here until 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning after doing drops and stocking the bar, doing orders, and just getting everything ready for the next day.
Yeah, and it definitely, it affects your play too, because in years past from running tournaments, I mean, sometimes when you're playing in your game, you're wondering, you're like, okay, did someone else get called that was running the board? Who's running the board now? So your mind might be elsewhere other than just the game that you're playing in. So that kind of plays into it as well.
Well, it's like such a tremendous amount of history, not only of the talent and like the past champions, but also I would say the history of the hospitality from the people of Rome. Just see like the pride, in everybody's faces on that are running, that want to show their community, want to show their club, want to show what bocce's all about in their area. And they're very proud about how big that tournament is and how well they take care of all the players from all over to be able to spend, they're spending time away from their families, right, to come into Rome and make a little trip out of it. And so, there's no shortage of hospitality from the player's point of view.
Yeah, and I think that's one of my favorite aspects about the World Series is it almost feels like a giant reunion. So even people that aren't playing are having a good time down there, whether it's, having drinks, watching games, and catching up with people that you might not have seen the whole year and you might not see again that year. So it has like a reunion feel to it. And you get to see all your friends, like you and me, Danny, like people from like Ohio, Pennsylvania, teams from Connecticut, other parts of New York. Like you get to see all these people you wouldn't normally get to see, and that's one of my favorite aspects of these big tournaments, like the World Series and Wycliffe. That's one of the aspects I love about it.
Yeah, I mean, it is great. Like, I mean, I have a lot of friends that come in and use it as like almost a reunion to catch up with people. They plan their summer trips around it. People that have to take time off, they'll come in just to sit around. Plus, the everything that we get from the city. I mean, the city does a lot for us. So, like, past mayors, our current mayor, Jeff Lanigan, they all like kick in. They make sure that we get everything that we need. They're here. They're enjoying themselves. They take in the atmosphere, and so it's really nice. We get to see, city officials, state officials. They all come in, and they're enjoying the atmosphere and the environment as well.
I love it. We saw a great showing from the Ohio teams in the Open Division last year. Do you think there's going to be a repeat of that, or are we going to start seeing some more Rome teams this year make it in the top 6?
Bocce has gotten so competitive recently that it could be anything. You could see 6 Rome teams at the top, or you could see 6 Ohio teams at the top. You can teams from Canada as well. If Chicago comes down, Connecticut always has strong showings as well. There's such a competitive nature in bocce now that there's no guarantee who's going to win. You can have favorites coming into these tournaments, and maybe they go 1-2 or 2-out. So it really could be anybody.
Paul, we were talking about this earlier.
I'm going to say it's going to. I'll give you a little controversy. I'm going to say it's going to be a bunch of Rome, New York teams.
Paul, we were talking about this earlier. Do you feel like the spread of talent over so many different teams out of so many different areas, do you feel like that's good for the sport, or is it better for the sport to have 2, 3, 4 dominant teams?
No. You never want to have just like the same teams winning. Having parity is probably the best thing for any type of sport. I mean, you can see it in just what just ended, March Madness. I mean, no one was really talking about. I mean, there was a couple of top teams that ended up being like all number ones, but they were talking about the parity throughout the whole sport. So I think anytime that you can have that type of thing throughout a sport where any team can win on any weekend or in any tournament, that's great, because that brings more and more people out to it. Where if you have the same 3 or 4 teams that are predominantly winning every tournament, or finishing in a certain spot, or going here, and now you're like, oh, they're in our bracket. I don't think that I love the parity, because I can honestly say, like, when I play in tournaments, you got to beat them all. So, I mean, that's how you got to have that mentality. You can't go in thinking, oh, I got this team, I got that team. I think with the amount of talent, like you said, where everybody's playing more, everybody's getting better, I think you're just starting to see so much, the competition level is rising, but everybody's, riding its coattails. Everybody's going with it.
Yep,
definitely.
And I think in the past, I think you'd see, okay, there were more, I don't know if it's the right wording to say, about cupcake teams. You'd be like, oh, thank God I've got this team or that team. Now it's like you can't take any team for granted. Any team can beat you on any given day because the competition's just risen in the game, and I think it's great.
Yeah, no, I mean, back in the day, you used to have all those Rainbow Creek teams. I mean, when you saw them in your bracket or whatever, you were like, oh, man, this is going to be tough, in the World Series, because they would come down, and I don't know the exact stats of that, but I want to say that the Canadian teams came down and took home a bunch of championships.
Mm-hmm.
I think a big advantage from what I would see, like teams that are coming in from out of town, one of the large advantages that the players from Rome have, the teams from Rome, are that there's so many different courts. And so there's different nuances to those courts. And I know in the past it's like, man, like there's certain teams that you're playing from Rome. There's extra special courts, man, that they want to play you on, and they're gonna understand those bananas a little differently. They're gonna understand the nuances of the court, the way the back wall plays. But what I started to see over the course of the last 3 to 5 years, it's so many players, so many teams now come with the attitude of we don't care what court we play on, and they watch more. They watch more of the strategy. They're hanging around the different courts. They're learning how they play off of, and they're taking less time to be able to adjust. And I'm wondering if that could play into just teams from out of town maybe dropping a little bit of that advantage to try to even it up.
I'll start, Tino, and then you can.
Yeah.
So we just basically last year we redid all the courts. So that really changed for everybody because by the time we got them ready, it was World Series time. We got some league play in on them, and we tried to get them. And we're working. We just started working on them again. Actually, I'm down at the club currently, and there's a couple guys out there working on the courts now to prepare them for the leagues and stuff like that. Putting new hard shoe down, leveling them off. So we did a lot of work to the outside last year. So this year is just trying to firm them up and get them, little fine-tuned things. And we're going to be starting to work on the indoor courts. So all the indoor courts are all going to get a complete makeover before the World Series as well.
Oh, that's great.
Who is that's working on the courts?
Tonight it's Dave Scatia, Sid. He's out there. I saw a couple other cars. I don't know who was out with him, but him and Gino DeBlasis last year really took really took on that challenge, and they headed up everything and did an unbelievable job. I mean, countless hours. They had to come down last night because some storms came through, and they were down here working on them because we got another nasty storm that came through, rain coming in sideways, the courts flooded. So, they did things to dry the courts out, put some extra hard shoe down, and I believe they were using like the calcium chloride pellets to get some of the water out, fans, everything like that. So they really put the time in all, once the spring comes on, they start now and they go hard on them.
Yeah, and to go back to the advantage part of it for, it being our courts, I think that, yes, there is some advantage if guys are coming down and practicing and playing in league and things like that, right? You get to learn what the backboards do and, the certain bananas and certain lines that these courts have. But I think, after that first day of competition, things kind of really even out, maybe even after the first game. That's what I think the 4-man format is so beautiful when it comes to it, because all 4 guys, pun intended, have to be hitting on all 4 cylinders once you get to Sunday. You can hide a guy for so long, but all 4 guys have to play well, and you only have 1 ball, and you have to make it count. So I think the advantage is very early on in the tournament, and then it dissipates as you go on.
Fair enough. And I guess Paul brought up a good point too with the courts being done, and I hear that often. And this is not something that you necessarily have to. Maybe you don't hear about it as much for synthetic courts. Maybe there's some sweeping going on at Lorenzino's to make them a little faster. But like you play Armstrong and MBR, and Joe's cleaning up the courts and redoing the courts, before, right after league play and getting them ready for Armstrong. And you end up playing on a completely different court that you just played league on all year. Koppel did the same thing at IMBS. Before their big tournament, they redid the court, and everybody went on there, and you started seeing out-of-town teams win that never used to win against a Koppel team because there wasn't that inherent home court advantage. So thank you for making the courts beautiful, but also thank you for leveling the playing field. hopefully the teams from my area can make that run again. But it's tough. It's tough going out there and like sleeping in a hotel room and going to play bocce somewhere. It's definitely not the same than playing at home.
It's definitely tough.
You Ohio guys and you Rome guys are so spoiled. God forbid you got to stay in a hotel for one bocce tournament.
I mean, Tino and I are doing it back-to-back weekends. We had to go play in Phoenix last week on Saturday, Lockport on Sunday. We made the bracket, so we have to go back out Saturday to play again on Sunday for the Empire Cup.
Come on. Phoenix is what, a 50-minute drive?
yeah, we're so bougie we have to stay in a hotel from 4 minutes away.
Guys, I think we lost Danny for a second. He'll come back.
Okay.
He'll come back in a second.
Sure.
Are you?
Happy belated birthday!
Thank you very much. I have a question.
Happy belated birthday!
Thank you, guys. Are you? So you guys redid all 9 outdoor courts. Is there? Are you planning on doing anything with the 6 indoor courts?
Yeah, I just stated that we're starting those this week because all the leagues just ended. So we only have we use them once a week there's a girls league because the girls have really started playing a lot here. We have all 16 courts filled on Thursday nights. So we're going to start working. So from Friday to Wednesday, we'll be working on those courts each week, trying to get 1 or 2 done here and there. We're going to re-level them off, add all the hard true, and get those all hopefully leveled off like we did with the outdoor courts.
Beautiful.
Mike, I'm going to throw a question at you.
Yeah.
World Series of Bocce this year. What 2 teams you got in the finals? Early predictions.
Ooh, I like
predictions.
Oh, man. I'd have to look at some rosters. I mean,
nothing right off the top of the head, though, right? Because it is tough. It is tough.
I can hear Matt. Matt just joined, I think, on our back end, and he's chanting BSB.
Is Matt here?
Somehow.
I'm gonna throw. Yep. Sorry. Go ahead.
This conversation.
I can hear you now.
Yeah, now I can. Yes.
What's up? No, I've been listening to everybody talk. Blah blah blah.
Tino and Paul, do you think BSP is going to lose in the championship again? I think that's what Matt was asking.
Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. We're going to be.
Matt's driving. I think he's got a
dead zone.
This one we can blame on the cell phone connection.
Yes. Well, if you can't hear me, I will say I think 2 teams that'll end up in it will be BSB goes back against Malachi Law Firm.
Yeah. I think
that team is unbelievable, by the way.
Malachi?
In my opinion. Versace, yes.
In what way?
Those guys are good, man. What's the team? Is it with Nick, Sarah, Paul?
Oh, yeah. So that's Nick, my dad Eddie,
Yes.
Paulie, and Todd Lansey.
I was just talking with Sean New about this today. Actually, you guys are the one team that, man, you guys are tough. I hate having to play you guys. Hate it.
I think my team, Versace Law, is going to be in the finals this year.
See, there you go. That's a good pick.
There you go. I'm going to give you a stunner right there.
Who's going to be doing the draw? Because we really don't want to play a Koppel team again in the first game. That was awful.
You know what? I'll make sure I do it. Then you can blame me.
Oh, there I am. What's up?
I'm trying to get you on the. I got you on now, but we lost Danny.
Oh, Danny. I can't wait to come out there. I'm usually there from like Wednesday. I get there Wednesday and I gamble at Turning Stone for like 2 days, 3 days straight.
Oh, see, you do it right. That's what I do when I go to the Wycliffe tournament. I go out there Wednesday. I'll play some golf,
Right.
relax a little bit, and then wait for my dad to get in on Friday because he doesn't like going early.
My buddy Adam and I used to leave on Tuesdays. We used to get out there and we'd go down to downtown Willoughby. We'd go to Cleveland. We'd hit them all up. We'd start that tournament all right.
I think we got too many connections in the back end. Danny's back.
Oh, okay.
Danny's back. Matt's driving around, calling it from somewhere. Who knows where? Probably on the way from one job to another.
We got Danny back
That's
on?
exactly right.
Yep, back on.
Yeah, he should be back. He should be back now. Danny, we can hear you now, right? Yep.
There we go.
So 4K for the women's, 10K for the Open. It's going to be a pretty amazing weekend out there in Rome.
Yeah, 275 per
wait.
team this year, which I think is pretty similar to what it was last year. Last year was record breaking with 128 and 58 women's team.
Was it
Last
58?
year? Yeah, it was 58 record breaking.
It's
And,
just amazing how much how much more popular women's bocce has gotten, and the level of play is just so good. And especially out there in Rome now, where and last year especially, it was like there was teams from Rome, teams from Youngstown, teams from Lockport.
Yep.
Going
Yeah,
on.
we had a women's. There was a women's doubles tournament, and the team from Lockport came down and they finished. They were in the finals. I think they finished first or second. I can't remember, but they're starting to travel now too. And I mean, just to see those numbers rise, it's pretty amazing. I mean, just seeing the women down here at our club, they do so much. I mean, Deanna, who helps out a lot around here, her and Marissa, I believe they won, and that Lockport team came in second. And I mean, they play in leagues 2-3 nights a week. They host tournaments. They've started running their own tournaments. So you really are starting to see the growth from the women's side, the women's side of it.
Well, and what I'd love to see too is they're playing against the men in singles tournaments, and they're holding their own and kicking butt too. Like they are significantly getting better, and I love to see the competition rising on the women's end too.
Well, Danny knows that Lorenzino's Val played on our team with Billy and Mo, and we won that tournament. I mean, what an impressive player she is. I had to play against her twice this past weekend. Once at Phoenix, and once out at Waterside, and then once at Lockport. And what a competitor she is.
She has no fear. She has no fear. She rolls with no fear. Like she rolls
right in.
Ball.
She steps on that court, and she is dialed in. I mean, it's impressive. I told her I told her after this weekend, I said, I want to start playing in more tournaments with you, because I mean, just her focus and just, I mean, what she does, what she brings to the team. Playing out at Lawrence, I had such a great time with that team. It was just how much fun we had. It was never like we never had any pressure, and it was just we each picked up each other, and it really stemmed from a lot from her. She's a great player, and she's just fun to be around. So I mean, it just shows that the women's division is just really becoming that good.
Yeah, and it again makes it even better for the sport of bocce, as now the sport has grown into both genders. And I think back to Tina's point, 4-person bocce I think is pretty easy to watch. Backboard live, obviously keeps the balls into play. Do you think that Rome will always be backboard live, or do you think at one point Rome might want to change over to backboard dead?
Good question.
I don't know. I mean, right now people love the backboard, but the more and more you're going to other tournaments, the more we're playing backboard dead. I think it becomes a more common thing and not so taboo, I guess, right? So I could see that happening in the future, but there are still people who love the backboard live and being able to do your spin shots and shooting it off the backboard and things like that. But I could see it going that route.
Well, one element has got to be the fact that a lot of teams that play the World Series, not a lot, but there are, probably a few dozen local teams that they play, maybe a couple times a year, or maybe that's their one time a year that they play.
Mm-hmm.
And so for them to go to backboard dead might be a big switch.
Because I think the Wycliffe tournament and the World Series are probably the last two big tournaments that keep backboard live. I mean, if you think about any of the other ones, if you go to like Molisani, and their big ones, or any of the other majors, even at MVR,
the Jack maybe
everything is backboard dead. So I think those are the last two big tournaments that are truly holding on to it.
No, MVR's backboard live still.
And the Jack,
okay,
right?
MVR. Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if they were. So those are pretty much your last three. So I mean, three of them. I mean, because when you're getting to the on the synthetic courts, everybody's gone to the backboard dead. We run a lot of our tournaments here backboard dead as well. So it's just really the leagues and then those last three tournaments.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting to play Rome specifically backboard dead. For Wycliffe, I think it'd be very difficult just because the rolling to the back wall, it's just there's just too much like you're trying to get through. I mean, you guys know how the courts are in Wycliffe, and if I had to roll to the back wall to not burn one, I don't know how much skill that is than just kind of a little bit of blind luck. If the Pauline made its way back there, there would definitely be a lot of hitting balls towards the back. For MVR, a little bit better rolling surface, and their backboards aren't as good as they used to be. And so I wish that would go MVR. I wish it would go backboard dead, because I feel like there's certain spots on the backboard that you hit and the ball comes up 15 to 20 feet. And there's other spots where it just is dead. And that, again, makes it more of a crapshoot, and we want to have skill. But Rome, I love the backboards in Rome. So I love playing, like you said, I love the spin shots. I love being able to do a soft pizzle and adding that into your game, to be able to kind of do a left to right or a right to left, because not everybody has that in their bag. But I think the courts could play well enough and smooth enough, especially after being redone, to be able to play dead. And that would just add another strategic element that, like you said, Michael, maybe would be worse for some local teams. But I wonder if it would just add even more strategy and more teams that maybe would want to come, that play on synthetic only, to come out to Rome to try to take their hand at it.
Yeah, it might not be a bad thing to sub. I mean, I don't know. It is nice to have that local atmosphere with all the local people, but as far as bocce-wise, it might not be a bad thing to sub out some of those local teams for more competitive traveling teams. But it's easy for me to say.
One last topic before you go.
Without us having a waiting list, I mean, that's what's helping fill that tournament currently. So I mean, you still get some of the older guys, the guys that have been around playing for a long time that have played that way, that those are some of the guys that still help fill the tournament. So I 100% agree with you just with the direction of everything's going. But I think because everybody has that opportunity to get in. I mean, and I do have an update. The update is the brackets are going to open up at 11 a.m. tomorrow, not midnight tonight. I mean, anybody can.
Taylor was going to be up. He was going to be 12:01. BSB was going to sign up 12:01. 11 o'clock. He may be flying wings. He's going to miss it.
Yeah, no, you get to sleep in tomorrow. You can get up at 10:59 and then get started. But just getting back to that, you get those guys that still play, and I mean, even not even just from Rome, but like from Connecticut and from other places that still come in and play that way and have always played that way. And until you can truly move on from it, it's a nice element to the game, because you see some people that don't know how to do that. Some of these skilled players, I've seen that at some of the tournaments, even out at Wycliffe, with some of these very, very skilled players that always play synthetic or something like that, didn't know how to make certain shots. And it actually affected some of the games that I've played in, and I've seen it. So it's truly a nice element to be well-rounded in, because I do like playing backboard dead. I do like playing synthetic, but having that the backboard live on the hard shoe is a whole different element to the game.
Agreed. And you get, like you said, you get some of these like amazing synthetic players that are almost like scared. Like, and it's just like not they're not actual scared, but they're so used to not wanting to burn that ball, whether it be a sideboard or a backboard. And so there's like these plays where like it's touch for us. We've been practicing those plays. It's part of our repertoire. And so, it's a lot different for them to have to go up and then, shoot the back wall to go, you get it close to the Pauline is just not something they've done, with their hands ever. And then they're expected to do that in a competitive environment in the World Series.
Yep.
So last question, and then we have another guest. We're going to have to let you guys go. And we'll be talking a lot more, of course, about Rome in the near future, and especially the World Series. So Versace was one of the teams that you guys talked about, having a chance that you're saying would be in the top two.
Malachi.
Malachi. What about teams that are from the area that you feel can, make a surprise run? Maybe not necessarily win the tournament, maybe some younger people from out in the area. Who are some people that maybe we don't know ever, that have traveled around the country that you think can actually, do some damage in Rome, especially being at their home courts?
Yeah. I think this past weekend at the Waterside tournament, I think you saw, the Jensen 1560. You got Jeff Cook, Ryan Riley, the Augustos. I could see them making a deep run. A young group of guys last year, well, a couple of them, who made a surprise run. I think they finished 9th or 10th, Paul, was the Americu, Joey Izzo, Zach Ortiz, Frank Malachi.
Yeah, they made a run. And then, I mean, really, you've seen teams just depending on a draw and depending on how, like just getting hot at the right time, just like in any other sport. We'll remember a few years ago, Aaron Bro, Scotty Cervolo, Justin Cortez, and Roberto. They're all guys that don't really play. I mean, they play in leagues, but you don't really ever see them in much tournaments. They ended up finishing third.
Yeah, they were the jet cleaners.
Yeah, jet cleaners. Yeah, I mean, you see teams like that, and I think every year I think you always see one team that kind of gets into the top 10, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a local team. I mean, just sometimes you see these teams that go on these historic runs. Like, I mean, their hitters are just hitting everything. We've all had those games where everything looks like a beach ball and their pointers are throwing just, points right on and everything. And it's just, the game just gels and it comes easy to them for a couple of days.
I'm going to predict a return to the podium from DeSalvos.
DeSalvos, that's a good one.
I think Pete's going to be feeling better than he has the last couple of years. I think I don't know.
Who's on the Salvos?
He's a fantastic player. Marco's a fantastic player, and Natali. I mean, didn't they go back to back, Mike? I can't remember. Did they go 2022, 2023, right?
Yeah, they did. Was it 22 and 23?
That's Pete Russo.
I think. I thought
Marcos
it was around
Signorelli, right? Natali
and Felice, yeah.
Yep.
And Felice.
Yeah, they're a fantastic team. They're in the thick of it all the time when it comes to the World Series. I mean, they're a Sunday staple.
I can't wait. I'm excited to play.
I'm excited for it too. We're finally getting some nice weather, so as soon as the sun and snow melts, you start thinking, all right, World Series is around the corner.
So 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, where do people sign up?
It's right on Turning Machine, at the same place that it was last year. They can do all the registrations, and I can't wait. I mean, like Tino said, it's that time of the year. You start to get into May. Next thing you know, June, and then that's the third week in July. There it is. It's right upon us. I mean, it sneaks up on you quickly, and I mean, just with us putting in all the work, here, it even goes by even quicker because all of a sudden you're like, all right, we got 5 weeks left, and it's like a week left, and then all of a sudden you're like, all right, we got a couple of days. Let's fine tune everything. So it really does. It creeps up on you very quickly, and we're all very excited.
And if you're looking for out-of-town teams, especially if they're looking for kind of a warm-up to get used to the courts, there's a big doubles tournament coming up May 31st. There's already 42 teams signed up for it, so it might be a nice time to come down, get some rolls in on the courts, and get a feel for it before the World Series tournament.
It'll be Empire
Yeah, they're
Cup.
going to cap it off at 64 teams, and it should be a nice weekend.
Empire Cup event number 3 too.
Love it.
Yes,
Yep.
it is.
Yep.
Well, thanks, gentlemen. We appreciate your time. Thanks for your patience,
Thanks
too.
for having us on tonight.
More to come. More to come.
Yes, thank you, Danny. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
All right, have a good night.
You too.
Yep, have a good night.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mike, we got one last caller, too. We got Chris Chim calling in. He should be
Like he was
calling in
just
right
calling a
now.
minute ago.
Oh, have him call right back. Talked about the Neo
Who's your World Series team, Danny?
plants. What's that?
Who's your World Series team?
World Series team. We got
Chris.
Bubba, Corey, and Rocco Guerreri.
Call from
Chris.
Hey, Chris. Can you hear us?
Hey, Mike, what's up?
Hey, Chris.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right.
What's up,
Thanks for
Danny?
your patience.
Oh, no worries.
So, first of all, congratulations on Crickets. Big win out there, man. It's your court.
Yeah, that was a good one. Got to give it up to the team, Timmy and Dante and Pope. Those guys we all did our jobs. You talked about it earlier with the vibe. It was never once did we feel like we weren't in control.
Is it just me, or do you play better on funky courts? I just feel like the funkier the court, man, I know Chris is going to show up to play. It's I feel like you can hit through anything. It doesn't have to be perfect conditions for you to hit.
I mean, yeah, I guess you're right. I did well at ITAM, which everybody was like struggling.
Crickets. You can play well at the Columbus
Crickets
Festival. You love Neo.
An unusual court.
If it's unusual,
Columbus.
if there's breaks, you're hitting through it, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, but you guys talked about it earlier, and you were dead on. The vibe of our team was perfect all weekend. We hung out together. We cut it up with each other. We had a few drinks together. It was a good time. I turn one way, I'm looking at Timmy Wilson, and he's so locked in, he's so intense, and I'm whispering in his ear to kill somebody on the court. And I turn around, and me and Dante are making a joke about somebody walking by wearing something crazy. I mean, it was that loose all weekend.
That's great. Got to be a great feeling.
Yeah, and it got real weird. I mean, the winner's bracket final and the championship, if you were going to pick somebody on that team that was going to roll in and win the game, you're not picking me. But oddly enough, in both of those games, I rolled in the winning point, Dante was on fire, second roller. Timmy is doing Timmy things. The hat goes backwards, and he is locked in, and he's just a monster. And then, Pope's back looking at butterflies, and we asked him to do a crazy shot, and he just nails it. So, the team was it was fun team to play with.
That's great. Congratulations. So now you got a tournament that you're running this weekend. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about the singles tournament?
Yeah, we got Neo singles going on. We got 3 flights. We got 44 players this year. We're going to be taking 4 from each flight back. So you got Friday and Saturday are taking 2 winners and 2 losers. We have a little bit lighter bracket on Saturday PM. So all those players are going to come back with a clean slate, but none of them will get a bye. Got some good matchups right out of the gate. Joe Z, I'll pull up, Scoreholio right here, and
you got
I
James
can't remember who he
Salvaggio
was playing, but I know right out of the gate it was like Joe Z. Oh, James Salvaggio. Yeah, so he's playing James right off the rip. So Joe Z's got it 3 years in a row now. So we'll see if he can do the 4-peat. And you've got some other monsters in his bracket, people that are phenomenal at Neo. We got Pete Barrick in that bracket and Brian Polance. So there's a lot of people swinging for the fences in that bracket. And all the other brackets are, just as competitive. So
love it. Who, if you had to pick, so I think Josie, I think he's going to be the odds-on favorite, right? But if you had to pick a couple other players, maybe it'd be sleepers that you feel like can make a run into the top 3 or 4 or 5 there. Who you picking? Who do you think is going to make a run that maybe we need to be looking out for him?
You got to look at Pete Barrett. The guy plays there every week. The Croatian league runs almost year round, so they're there every week. That guy's just a machine at Neo. I like the odds on Pete. There's some sleepers. I think you got to look at Mike Hilvers. We play a lot of tournaments at Neo. We play well at Neo. It was always a joke of ours that our home courts weren't the Lexington courts when we all lived in Kentucky. Our home courts were Neo. So
yep.
I like Mike. I don't hate my odds. Been playing a lot more at Neo, even more so than we did before with playing in leagues with Chuck Britton and Bridget and my wife. We just won the league playoffs there, so solid. James Salvaggio is always tough. Brian Polance is going to be tough. Spread them out. There's some good players.
Yeah, and like you said, good first-round matchups. It's like something to take a look at that Brian Polance is playing against Dom Venny in round 1 in Friday's bracket. And Saturday morning, Hilver's going to meet Bubba first up, and Bubba plays great singles there. He made a run there last year. Nice deep one. I think he might have lost to Venny real late. He played phenomenal singles. So Venny too. And then Mike Crispin's playing against Bobby Davis, and Bobby Davis is nothing to sneeze at as a singles player. I've seen the guy get super, super hot, and Mike Crispin's playing some of the best bocce in Youngstown right now. That's gonna be a great game.
Well, Mike Crispin's probably putting in the most work right now. You talked about Anthony from Chicago putting in the work. Right now, Mike Crispin is our Anthony in Youngstown and Cleveland area. He's living at Lorenzino's, and it shows. He's playing well. So yeah, and Bobby plays well at Neo too. The funny thing you brought up the Hilvers Bubba matchup. They fall into Triv. Whoever wins that game plays Triv. So that little finger of the bracket is super tough.
Yep.
So yeah, Triv's another one. Triv plays league in Neo as well.
It's going to be some great games. Excited for some of the streaming out there. And then Saturday PM, you decided, I noticed that you decided not to bring back anyone as a technical winner. I'm assuming you're doing clean slate on Sunday, but because it's a shorter bracket, you wanted everyone from that smaller bracket to start off at the beginning. Is that correct?
Absolutely. I just thought the fairest thing to do because the other two brackets are so heavily weighted with players that anybody that's going to get a bye is going to come out of those brackets. So there's 2 and 2 from the first 2 brackets, and then all 4 of the people that will make it back with a clean slate from the PM bracket will definitely be playing in the first round.
Nice. And I see we can follow along and score Holio all weekend. Hopefully we get some streaming so we can watch some of these good matchups.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I wanted to bring one more thing up about crickets. So a little funny story on the side here. Pope and Timmy have won to qualify for the Tournament of Champions with Ben Diaz and Tony D'Onofrio. So Dante and I are like, the backup prom dates. We'll see who gets to go to the dance. We like what we got there, and Dante and I definitely don't want to split up. We had a really good vibe, and we want to keep playing. So, if it matters, Dante and I will buy the limo. If we get to go to prom, we'll buy the limo.
Who's going to wear the dress?
Oh, I've done it before. That's I think twice now for Halloween. I got some great legs. Come on, I got them.
I believe it.
I love it.
But
congratulations, Chris. I'm glad you guys punched your ticket. And like you said, what a great team to be able to do that on. And I'm sure you and Dante are not done making noise during this year, as well as Timmy and Pope having a great year. And I'm excited to see. I'm really excited to see what's going to go on this weekend at this tournament at Neo. Not the easiest courts, I feel like, to point consistently on, and the ones that get it and that aren't afraid early tend to be the ones that make runs. So it should be a very great weekend of bocce, of singles bocce out there.
Absolutely, and of course, again, that's also going to be a Tournament of Champions qualifier. So whoever wins that punches their ticket to go into the players' pool. So that's pretty cool. And the Neo Singles tournament, Marco ran it for years and did a fantastic job. And Marco reached out to me about running it, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to do it with me?" And I was like, "Yeah, for sure." And then kind of morphed into me doing it, but he did so much work on the back end that hopefully maybe he'll kind of look at some of the Scoreholio stuff and to be able to keep his stats, because from day one, Marco has stats on every player that ever played in the Neo Single. So he can tell you your wins, losses, like who you played, where you finished, the whole 9 yards. So, with Scoreholio, he'll be able to maybe continue to do some of that data, which is pretty cool.
Take it to the next level. Yeah, his Excel sheet's pretty amazing. Love it.
But, yeah, looking forward to it. Here's what, you brought up Dante. There's a good chance that coming to a tournament the following weekend that you may see myself and Dante and his dad and someone else playing together, maybe at Jerry's World. There's a possibility of that happening.
Love it. Love it. Keep hey, you know what? Keep the good vibes going, right? You found something that works, keep the good vibes going.
Yeah, I mean, that, like I said, that was a special win for us. We just never felt like we were going to lose. I always talk about teams that have that, and ABV to me is the team that has that. It doesn't matter if they're down, 10 points in a game to 12. They always believe they're going to win, and that's exactly what we had that whole weekend. One player would have a bad shot, the other 3 would throw, hero balls, and we never let each other down, and it just worked out perfect.
It's great.
So, hey, happy belated birthday, Mike.
Thanks, Chris.
Tell your dad we said hello. Miss you guys. Missed Vegas this year, so I knew it was a little different venue, but I'm sure we'll make it back there at some point.
That'd be great. Yeah, hope to see you soon somewhere.
Absolutely, for sure.
Might be Molsani.
Molsani, yeah, we'll see you at Molsani. That's only in it feels like a ways away, but that's really in just a couple weeks.
Yeah,
it's only a few weeks out. If I'm not mistaken, if you want to talk about the Molsani, that I feel like the registration is going to open up Monday. So people will be jumping. We got all these tournaments that everybody's going to be doing the keyboard warrior thing, trying to get their team, in without getting locked out, because those are all wonderful tournaments.
Can't wait. So pumped. It's one of my favorite places to play.
I love Molzani. Moving back up here to the Cleveland area, Willoughby getting to play league. They have a league that started in the end of November, and we just finished up a couple weeks ago. So it's like nonstop rolling in Molzani. It's so nice being 6 miles away from the club.
Yeah, a lot better than before.
Yeah, a couple feet difference. A couple feet here and there closer. So, Michael, congratulations on working with Chicago and getting this new thing going over there. That's awful interesting. I know you guys had to kind of skip over it because you lost your connection, but it's definitely worth talking about. I think that's an interesting thing, and I feel like there may be some interest in this neck of the woods of doing something like that. If you guys are up for it.
Well, that's a perfect segue, Chris. Like I think we're going to get right back into that. Yeah. Anybody who feels left out, because their region they don't live in Chicago, just hold on a minute.
We're working on it.
I kind of figure you guys had something sizzling in the background.
Yeah. Got to start somewhere, right?
That's it.
Danny, you got anything else for Chris?
Nope, I'm good. Chris, thanks for joining. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, guys. You guys have a good night.
Thank you, Chris. You too. Good luck this weekend, and hope to see you soon.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Chris. Well, what a segue, Danny.
Yeah, well, first of all, just Chris, I think Chris has a great shot to win that, but having to run it too is just such a pain in the butt. Like, it's even more exhausting for singles. We were talking about it with the guys from Rome, but I know the work that Chris is going to have to put in, like just the mental energy of collecting everyone's money, getting the envelopes ready, making sure Scoreholios right, the courts, the brackets, making sure people show up on time. Oh yeah, and go play bocce by yourself, and you can't lean on anybody else for any mental energy or physical energy to get through a game or get through a frame. So Chris will play well there, though, and I think that he can make a run as well. So last topic. I know we kept everyone here late. Appreciate those that have held on with us. And I know Luch is ready for me to hang out with him for a little bit. He made me some smash burgers, Mike, for dinner. So, but until we get there, when we talk about Bocce's next evolution, why don't we talk about the Chicago Bocce League and give people a little update of what we're about to have in the Ohio PA region as well.
So let's see where to start. Well, Chicago. So in September, I think I memorized the video script by now. Those of you who saw the blooper reel, I had to do that video probably 25 times before everything went smoothly. We're starting in September with North America's first semi-pro, fully broadcasted Bocce League. So what that means is that we're going to have independently owned teams. So it's going to be structured. Obviously, in Bocce, we don't have the money yet to do some of the things that we would like to do, to have fully professional leagues, or even what we would consider like real semi-pro leagues with player salaries and stuff. So players will get, this is one of the more common questions I get as far as the semi-pro aspect of the league. There are a lot of details that we still have to work out over the next few months. But there will certainly be big cash prizes for winning franchises. A lot of it is going to be up to, just like any other sport, it's going to be up to the franchise owners to distribute prize money and any sort of player salaries, there's a lot of moving parts here. So first of all, when I say franchises, I just mean teams, in the same way that the New York Yankees are a baseball franchise, or whatever, the Chicago Blackhawks are a hockey franchise, right? We're going to have 8 franchises, independently owned. Those will go on sale in mid-June. Before that, we will release the franchise contract information to all of our prospective franchise owners, of which we already have more interest in owning franchises than we have franchises to sell, which is fantastic, of course, from our perspective. So we'll have these franchises will go on sale. There's a player draft registration process that's open right now. If you live in the Chicagoland area and you can be available to play a match once a week, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, go ahead, go to ChicagoBocceLeague.com. You can sign up for the player draft. So we'll have, over the next few months, we'll be structuring the league and building out the franchises and all that good stuff. And then in August 9th will be the player draft. And then the league will begin on September 18th. And then in the middle there's media days and stuff like that. So this is going to look and feel like, it's not going to feel like the NFL straight off the bat. We're not going to have the Fox robot doing commercials and stuff yet. We'll build a Bocce robot. But in a lot of ways, it's going to be structured. It's structured in a way. So the analogy that I like to use is we're building a foundation right now that can support a 15-story building. Right now, we're just building the first couple of floors. But we're building that really solid foundation where things can and will naturally evolve to the point that we would all like to see and we'd all like the sport to be at. And basically, we're going to do this. The idea is to do this regionally because the U.S. geographically, it's a huge country. So we do this regionally in regions where it makes sense. Chicago's a good place to start. Youngstown, which we'll talk about in a second, is another great place to start. And eventually, as it makes sense, as we're able to facilitate not only the league, but also run a quality broadcast from these places, we'll expand to different regions. And that's a big part of it that we could talk about, Danny, is the product of the league, which essentially comes in the form of the broadcast, because the reason for there's a few reasons to have leagues like this, but basically it's catered towards the general public and growing an audience from the general public, which is really hard to do when you have, you're broadcasting 2-3 tournaments a month from these random places with different players, different teams.
Different rules.
They're different. Everything looks completely different. It's very hard for like the average person to tune in and have any clue what they're watching. Beyond, thinking beyond people who play bocce, just the average person to tune in. It's like, who are these people? Why do I care? So, and for sponsors too, very hard to get sponsors for different random tournaments every week. I
think that's important. I mean, like for whoever's watching now, and one thing that we've seen with our episodes is that we get a lot of rewatches later. So we'll have some people going into the deep content later, and then we have 1,000 people watching the show. Okay, right? We need this to be much larger so that we can grow the sport to where we want it to grow to. And so one of the things that I think we commonly see a hole in, you and I, Michael, and Matt especially too, and then bring in Alex and a few others that we have talked to, is that this sport's very hard to market. There's a few players that are, there's a few teams that are, and we see that in little droves that we've been able to do that. You especially in the BBN, or even when we're doing a Facebook Live, there's certain teams that people want to watch. There's certain players that people want to watch, and we get some higher views. But without the context of a structured league with structured stats and a structured broadcast, you're unable to really build the stars, the semi-stars, the continuity to be able to drive the storylines, to drive towards sponsorships and to views. And that's what we need. We need more than 1,000. We need more. We need more than 5,000 people watching. And I think this is what we're trying to drive towards. And what you're doing, especially in Chicago, and what Matt and I can hopefully do, for the Cleveland to PA area, is to do something similar so that we could build structure, learn from it, and grow. And do that on the Bocce Broadcast Network with really great equipment, with a really high quality broadcast that can be watched over again.
That we've built. So this has always been the plan in my eyes. And so for me, this is like a huge something that I've been looking forward to for a while and that I'm really excited about. But the plan was always, learn how to do the broadcast. Go around to all these tournaments, put in the time. I basically sacrificed the last 2 years of my life to go around to all these different tournaments. I gave up the house that I was living at. I gave up my construction company. So to be able to get to the point where we have this platform now, where there are certain bigger entities that are aware of us, and that we can take the next step because we have this platform that allows us to do so, and to it's prepared. The platform is ready for us to present a product that is worth something to an outsider or an outside investor or an outside sponsor. And that's another conversation, the struggles of having a consistent product in the broadcast, especially, different, just not having the resources to have like full-time director, producer, all these things. So, but that's a whole different thing. But we are at the step, and especially with the ABC people, the timing works out nicely where they're ready with their business now. So for years they have an event space in downtown Chicago, where they have hosted weddings, corporate events, stuff like that to supplement their bocce business. But they've gotten the bocce business to the point where they don't need to supplement it, and now they can afford to invest into turning that into what'll be a really, really nice third space, what they call a third space, which is basically there's home, there's work, and then there's the third space, which is a place for more than just bocce. But of course, it's called the Chicago Bocce Club, so of course it's going to be mainly focused on bocce, but it's going to be this really nice private club that'll attract all different types of people and will allow us to have another aspect of this puzzle that we're putting together that we've needed to wait until this point to be able to do, which is to have a professional looking product and something that looks like a sport and is fun to watch. And, you can have all the different graphics and everything, the player bios and the storylines. And we were talking about stats earlier, Danny, somehow find a way to incorporate stats. We probably can't afford to have a person there dedicated to just keeping track of stats, but looking at ways to do all these different things. And then as the revenue grows from these regional leagues, expanding as we're able to within reason, don't want to overextend ourselves. But then as the revenue grows and the audience grows and these regional leagues can start to travel, this is what we'll see over the next 5 years or so. Regional leagues will be able to start to travel and play against each other. And then eventually, whatever it is, 5-10 years down the road, you start to get in the conversation of like a national league where teams are traveling from Toronto, Montreal, St. Louis, Chicago, Youngstown, hopefully California, New York, Detroit, all these different regions that can support these high quality regional leagues and put out a high quality product, because we already have people, we have people that could take us to the next level that we are already meeting with, and we're having these conversations, and they're very interested in what we're doing. So this is a huge step, not only for us, but for the sport. It's always been about the sport. At some point, I have to make some money so I can move back out of my parents' house. As much as I love them, as great as it smells, whatever they're cooking downstairs.
Yeah, there's still an internet, so like.
Yeah, the Wi-Fi keeps dropping out, But so very exciting. If you feel left out, nobody should feel left out here. This is the next step for the sport as a whole. We have to start somewhere. We have to start regionally somewhere. Chicago is a great place to start for a lot of reasons. Ohio will be a great. The plan is to run. So you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Why don't we do that before we tie up for the night? But just echoing your statement that this is a stepping stone, and what we've decided to do through our talks is for Matt and I to run a league that's going to be done concurrently, right? That would be done in Ohio. We'll get into more details later about the owners and what we're going to do. There's going to be nuances that are different, such as it being 4-person walk as opposed to the 3-person no walk. That's going to be on the Chicago side. So there'll be some that's a little bit more region specific, similar to a DH rule, for the AL and the NL. And I think just for both of us, it's really about learning. So we want to put another product out on BBN at the same time, utilize the beautiful spots that we have out in Ohio, utilize Dante's place at Lorenzino's, and really learn. But it's all about putting highly competitive, high quality bocce from a strategy and playing standpoint on a high quality broadcast, so that we could be able to have a product that can take us to the next level. And so I'm excited to be on the Ohio PA side, trying to think about what we need to do here. And like you said, if we build it, more can come. And so it's not about, it's like these certain regions make sense because of what Dante's built and what he's willing to, help us put in, about the camera work we put in there. Broadcasting out on BBN is going to be major for us. We have a little bit of sponsors for the cameras. So stuff that we could be able to do, where I'm at and where you're going to be at makes sense for a beginning start. But the plan is for it to get bigger. The plan is for it to get bigger. So for those that have input, for those that are wanting to learn more about how they can get involved or what does the future look like, I would say reach out. We're a phone call away. We're a message away. We're looking to expand. We're looking to get better. And we're really excited to put a product in front of the viewer that everyone's going to be able to understand the rules with graphics, with what the scores are to, and not necessarily have to run, pretty exhausting broadcasts. You've done way more than me, but the 8 to 10 to 12 hour broadcasts that are just done simultaneously, going game to game to game throughout the tournaments, they have their place in the bocce world. We're not looking to take away from them, but to being able to add a structured environment where like a game has a start and a estimated end time, I think we're getting into, bocce that can be digestible for all.
Structure. Just structure. Structuring, yep. Presenting things in a way that is just simple as it can be, and as easily digestible and broadly digestible and engaging as it can be. And there's, for a lot of reasons, that this is, just the logical next step for the sport and for us. And very happy to be working together. I think it's very important that regionally to have people that see the bigger vision, that don't feel like, it's New York versus Ohio or BBN versus Respect the Line or any of that, because you got to be able to see the bigger picture, which is that none of us are looking to capture to take 100% of the market, of the existing bocce market. There's nothing there. You're not going to, what are you going to do with that? So the idea, I guess something that has been a long time coming, and I'm very grateful that you and Matt and myself and other people are able to work together to get these things done and to, raise the tides for across the board for everybody. So I think a lot of this is the first step. It'll evolve. There'll be some things that we don't see at first. There'll be some ways that this goes that we don't anticipate at first, but one way or another, it'll evolve, and eventually, I think this is going to turn into something very interesting for us, for the sport, and for everybody that's listening to this right now, all you players. So, don't feel, I want to stress this again, I don't want anybody to feel left out. I know there were a lot of people that were excited about what's this announcement going to be, and then it was Chicago, and then people are like, oh, okay, well, even guys like, I live in New York, right? Guys from New York, oh, okay, why Chicago? Why don't you do it? It's like, just, you have to do things logically. This is the first step. This is a leap. So this is a big jump into the next thing. And in some ways, it's starting over again with something new. But in a lot of ways, it's something that's been years in the making. And taking this leap will allow us to get to where we all want to be eventually.
I'm excited. More to come. More to come for everyone.
So, ChicagoBocceLeague.com. There you go. ChicagoBocceLeague.com for more information. The player draft is now open if you're in the Chicagoland area. We will be selling 8 founding franchises. Like I said, we already have more interest from potential owners than we have franchises available. I think these franchises, $6,000 for a franchise is, for a semi-pro sports team, is quite a bargain. It's a way to be directly invested in the future of the sport. You don't have to live in Chicago to own a franchise. It's a way to be involved. If you're in another region, if you're worried, oh, I'm going to get a franchise here, then you're going to come to my region. I'm going to want a franchise there. You're going to be able to sell these. Well, I can't guarantee. I'm not going to do a Ponzi scheme here. I can't guarantee anything, but these franchises will, the value will increase. You'll be able to sell it down the road and get a franchise into your area. So ChicagoBocceLeague.com, all that information on everything there. Yeah, and just very excited, Danny, for us to be taking this step together.
Definitely, and more to come from Matt and I. I'm looking forward to doing our announcement and our webpage as we get to that. And yeah, it's just going to be a fun. I think it's going to be the big thing that moves the needle. So it's going to be a lot of work, but excited to be involved in it right from the beginning. So for those that were patient with us, we have 2 parts. Guests, call-ins. Taylor
this has got to be the longest show.
On the car. We tried everything. He's probably, he's still mad at us for not mentioning BSB enough.
He was on for a while in the back. Let me check if he's still on. He was on for a while without saying anything. No, he's not on right now.
Yeah. It was hard. He was fixing all the courts up and out in Koppel, getting ready for league.
Hey, he's the new president now, right?
Yeah.
Got
if
himself
anybody has a
job.
last minute topic, please call in. Well, we got enough time for at least a question or two.
As if Matt didn't have enough jobs.
I'm playing my first league in Koppel, playing in the IMBS league. So
cool.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad of a drive. It's like 35 minutes. 30 minutes.
That's the closest club to me. I got to drive 35 minutes to go play in Troy.
Yeah, not that bad of a drive.
Dirt courts where they don't want me there, and nobody takes care of the courts except us. We take care of the courts, and they still complain. They complain that we trash the room. It's like we're the only ones that clean it and take care of the courts. Yeah, that place is doomed.
Yep. I'm excited to go play out there. I got a fun team, and they play two on each side, which I'm not. No one. It doesn't happen very often in Youngstown. Two on each side.
One court, right?
One court.
So is it only one? Well, I mean, obviously it's only one game.
I think it's two.
How does the league work?
I honestly don't know, but I think it might be two different 2-game series a night.
I know Pete wanted to call in. He might have gotten tired. Let me text him. Danny, this is definitely the longest show we've done.
Broke the record.
Yeah, we're like 2.5 hours now. Including the Wi-Fi. I don't want to say it out loud, but ever since I hardwired it, the Wi-Fi has been solid.
Hardwire work.
Might be our new path forward. Well, I think we might have put everybody to sleep.
Yeah, we did a good one.
I can't see the chat. I don't know if you could see it.
Not much chatting. I think everybody's ready for us to hang it up.
Well, we'll give it another 45 seconds or so. But thank you all. If anybody's even still listening, we appreciate you. We'll be back again sooner. We won't take 5 weeks off this time between episodes. We just had a lot of. I had to work a lot in between tournaments. This is my longest break between tournaments of the year. So I had to work a lot, and then Danny and Matt both running multiple businesses. So
launching a new one.
Schedules were crazy.
But good to be back.
I got the package in the mail when I got back from Kansas City. Looks fantastic. Haven't had a chance to make any of the food yet, but thank you so much for sending that.
Some Foodie Box love.
Foodie Box love. It's the Instagram, right? Foodie Box love.
Foodie Box love. FoodieBoxLove.com too. Go check us out.
Pete's been telling me for like 3 weeks he wants let me know when there's an episode of Respect the Lie and I want to call in. So I just texted him, we're ready if you want to call, and he goes, call what? I even talked to him earlier.
That's all right. All right, well, let's wrap it up. Thanks everyone for joining. We appreciate you. We'll be back next week. We'll get Taylor out. We'll get Taylor out of the courts from IMBS and back into the booth. We appreciate you. Thanks for joining. Respect the Line. We got Michael, our special guest host, and this is Danny Catullo. Shout out Matt Taylor. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Pete, you took too long. I like watching you doing your hand signals. You want to give him 10 seconds?
No, we're done.
No, he's done.
9:30.
All right. All right. All right, Danny. It's been a marathon.
Yep. Love you guys.
Talk to you next time. Adios.